hockey. Yeah.
My favorite. It's Judd's Hockey Show.
It is Judd's Hockey Show. It's Judd, it's AJ, it's a Tuesday. Jessie Pierce actually not joining us today. She will join us tomorrow after Game 2 between the Vegas Golden Knights and the Wild. Of course, that is a very late start. Drink your coffee, take your naps, a 10 p.m. start. So, we basically decided, well, if they're going to have a game that starts at 10 p.m. Central Time, might as well do a pregame show, some thoughts. And so we will be talking about reaction to things that came off of Game 1, what we expect for Game 2, and it is sponsored by our good friends at Padregs. Padregs brewing beer that's absolutely delicious. Now you're saying, well, why is it better than most? And I'm going to tell you right now, because they're not doing a bunch of other things. They're not trying to reinvent the wheel of cocktails. They're not doing specialty things. You know what they're doing? They're doing the best beer around. May I suggest, because it is now finally getting warmer before, you know what, you're going to be out on your boat or your pontoon, Paddy's Premium Irish Lager is fantastic. It is what they call a sessions beer, which means it's not heavy. It goes down smooth and easy. So that's a great beer to try. Also, congratulations. Padre's an award-winning beer and Sports Dad's personal favorite, the Red Chimney, featured recently in the Star Tribune as a beer to try this summer. If you've been watching this show, if you've been watching us, you know that the red is absolutely great. But yeah, mix in a premium as well from Padregs. All right, Age. So the Wild down one rip in the series. Game 2 tonight. Game 3 back here on Thursday night. A couple talking points. In watching a bunch of games last night, 4 games, it was a glorious night. In watching a bunch of games last night, and since the playoffs have started, I mentioned this after Game 1 of this series, and I'm going to reiterate it with an even stronger force. Kirill Kaprizov had 2 assists, one which was beautiful on Boldy's 2 goals. And we could talk about depth scoring having to show up as well. But you know what? Superstars, they score goals. You need Kirill Kaprizov to be sitting on at least a goal tonight. And one shot on goal, not acceptable. He did not have a bad game. He is still just back from being hurt. There's not a referendum on him. But I'm just saying, when you watch McDavid, when you watch McKinnon, when you watch these guys, what do? They score goals. I think if you come out of the first 2 games in Vegas without a goal from Kaprizov, I think you're probably down 2-0 in the series.
Well, to just reinforce your point, let's go over some of the key goal scorers in games yesterday. Yeah, Alex Ovechkin, overtime winner.
First overtime game-winning goal in his career in the playoffs, dude.
Crazy.
That's stupid.
I know they didn't have a lot of success in the playoffs for like the first 70% of his career, getting bounced by the Penguins. But it's weird that even the game where he had the dueling hat tricks with Crosby, like that, like
yeah.
Anyway.
Just at some point that he accidentally didn't score an OT.
Right.
Yep.
And 2 goals actually in that game. Nick Suzuki, captain, which for the longest time, I thought Brendan Gallagher was the captain of the Canadiens. I had totally forgotten that Nick Suzuki was the captain for the past couple of years. Cole Caulfield, superstar for them, I would say, in their world.
Top line.
Between Blues Jets, Mark Scheifele, he nets a goal. Kyle Connor, he nets a goal.
Yep.
Crazy. Those guys step up. Avalanche Stars, Nathan McKinnon goal. Tyler Seguin goal. No, I want to say them, but Evgeny Dadonov has been a little bit of a nice little addition for them.
But go to Colorado. Go to Edmonton.
And then Edmonton Kings, you have Quentin Byfield, who was he the 2nd overall pick or the 1st overall pick, whatever draft? And Leon Draisaitl, goal. Kevin Fiala, goal. Zach Hyman, Connor McDavid, goal. It's all the big names. It's all the big hitters. So to your point, like, points are great, assists are great. The pass, beautiful. It was amazing. It was everything hockey should be. But he's so much more than that, and he has to be leading it by putting the puck in the back of the net. You are offense. You are the Minnesota Wild. Put the puck on net. There should be no willingness or there should be no unwillingness to shoot. Right. That little black biscuit, that rubber puck needs to be directed towards the goal. I saw somebody say, like, wow, the Kings really did their scouting work on Stuart Skinner. They just found out his biggest weakness, shots on goal. Yeah, It's that easy. You got to put shots on goal. And granted, it's a little bit different here because Adin Hill, I think, is a much better goaltender. But as we discussed with Jesse earlier in the week, it's not like he is a Vezina Trophy finalist. It's not like he is Dominik Hasek reincarnated. He's not Marty Brodeur. It's Adin Hill. He's a guy that takes up a lot of that area because he's 6'5", I want to say. He's a big body. He's a very capable goaltender, but you can beat him because he gives up rebounds. Shots on goal has to be the name of the game. I don't want to look tonight at 1 a.m. when we're midway through the third period and the Minnesota Wild have 21 shots on goal with 4 minutes to go. I need at least 30. I have to have at least 30. And I bet you if they have 30, Judd, they probably have 3 goals up on the board because all of those shots are going to turn into rebounds where if they play the style of hockey that they want, which is getting bodies to the net that they preach time and time again, over and over and over. If you commit to that style of gameplay, you're going to be rewarded, and that's how you win a game on the road in Vegas to even up this series before coming home to the X.
And they do have shot attempts. Vegas defensively is they're a big team, so they block a lot of shots. But that being said, like this is why in particular I want Kaprizov. I don't think it's a big ask to say minimum 5 shots on goal. Like I need him shooting the puck, and they talked about this too. So a lot of teams, good teams, including the Golden Knights, are very adept at taking away the ordinary lanes. And so I saw a quote, I forget it was from whom, a couple of days ago or yesterday off the game on Sunday, that the Wild need to take shots from angles where you're not expecting them, because that's how you get pucks through. Well, that's a Kaprizov specialty. So like tonight, I want to see him focusing on shooting. And if he sets, the Boldy goal, you're right. Like great goal, fantastic. But I want to see, but that's also a place where he can shoot from. And here's the thing, he's got a special shot. Like I don't want Justin Brazeau trying to shoot from there, okay? Because it's going to be a worthless shot. But he's Kirill Kaprizov. And the thing is now, fair or not, we are totally past, because of where we're at in the season, we're totally past, well, he's still trying to feel his way, and this is going to come later. There's no later here. Mm-hmm. You cannot go down 2 games to none. So this is a game where it has to be expedited, dude. It has to be expedited. Kirill Kaprizov has to be Kirill Kaprizov. Now, if that's not possible, then you're just going to lose. But if you think that the Wild can win, he needs to be as close to 100% of who he is. And that means doing things that he can do. The skating might not be exactly back. I get that. We've talked about that. But there's nothing precluding him from shooting the puck.
And with that, too, the graphic they showed, at least on the ESPN broadcast the other night, was that they have like 4 or 5 guys with 100+ shots on the season for Vegas. This is a playoff series. This is not, you're heading down there for a Wednesday afternoon and then you're going to move over to, you're going to go up to Utah for, on the same road trip. You're playing these guys a bunch. And obviously you don't want to, there shouldn't be any malicious intent, but if you're putting the puck on the net, guess what? If they're going to sacrifice the body, that's going to build up game after game. They're going to get hurt. They're going to shy away from maybe doing that at some point. And I get they blocked a lot of shots. Then I think they had like 20, high 20s taken away from the Wild. So that's credit to them. Mm-hmm. But you're going to have to keep doing it. Like either slap shots, like make them regret laying down in front of a shot. You saw Matt Boldy, I want to say it was against the Ducks, like just punished a guy right before a goal. Make them regret setting up shop in front. Like get out of the way. We need a clear shooting lane, or to kind of what you're saying, kind of the unexpected, it's lower percentage at the end of the day, but it's going to generate what should be a high percentage rebound by shooting it from unusual spots.
Right. The boards, basically.
Exactly.
What they're saying is shoot like where Kirill passed from the Boldy, you actually would shoot tonight, I think.
Yes. And maybe that's my biggest ask is limit the extra pass. Like don't get so cute that it's like, oh, well, there's, you're back checking. You're thinking, oh my God, that would have been an amazing play. I don't want that. I don't want to see you back checking. I want to see you forechecking, crashing the net hard because maybe your arguably bad shot turned into a chance now for a Ryan Hartman, a Matt Boldy, a Marco Rossi to just fly in there kamikaze
rebound
style, trying to shovel in some garbage. So
yes.
there should be no limit of shots tonight for the Wild.
Yeah. And the Golden Knights are going to try to keep you from the front of the net. You've got to go there and you've got to get punished. And Adin Hill, like, the goaltending is so good, a lot of initial shots are not going in. I think Kirill's can, because he's got a special shot. But a lot of initial shots are, so you have to, the entire team tonight has to be willing to take the punishment, which gets us into depth scoring and what appeared to be an indication. And we are recording this at 12:42 Central Time, 10:42 in Vegas. I don't know what time the teams were skating, but there was an indication that Ryan Hartman might be moved up. I did a Substack yesterday saying, basically going back to our JHS postgame on Sunday, which is, I think you put Rossi back on the second line, because that gives you Johansson, who's playing very well because of his contract drive, Zuccarello, and a skilled guy. But the other thing too is, if we are talking at 1:30 in the morning about a Wild win in Game 2, Age, you're going to need more than one line to score. You're going to have at least your second line, if not a greasy goal from the third line, which is why I would go personally. I would go Eriksson Ek top center, Rossi 2. And remember, Rossi's not a big guy, but he's not afraid to get dirty. He's done some stuff where he will go to the front of the net. Gaudreau or Hartman 3, I don't care. And then the other one 4. But I need at least a perceived threat of the second line, or I need the second line to be able to score, and a perceived threat of the third line that they can score. Didn't feel like you got that in Game 1.
And I know during the post-game show that we did was that I think I at least said Freddie Gaudreau on the third line probably makes more sense in terms of being paired with a Marcus Foligno, kind of like that workman style line. I think Ryan Hartman, and we've said this now for a long time, which is he is a tremendous third line center. Like, that is the area where he thrives. And I do think you saw, to me, it proved that he has kind of reined in his temper a little bit since his suspension, because if there was ever a time to kind of lose your marbles, getting cross-checked in the face, kind of the other stuff that he took the other night, he didn't really let it bother him. Like, he maybe used that to like fuel his play, but in terms of the extracurriculars, he kept that to a minimum. That in my mind says we can now not, I can believe that you already were going to be there on a third line, but I can trust you with the responsibility of you're going to be out there more. That's a few extra shifts. That's probably a couple extra minutes of ice time. Go out there with Foligno. And if you're going to go Nyquist, I mean, I would say, I do think Hinostroza could factor in on one of the lines tonight, whether it's the right wing for line 3 or 4. But I enough liked what Trennan and Brazo brought to that fourth line. So
I agree. Yes, I'm with you.
I'm with you for Kirill Ek or I would say Kirill Ek Zuccarello for the top line, and then you go Johansson, Rossi, Boldy for that second line.
Okay.
Foligno, Hartman, either Nyquist
or he's going to play.
He's going to play. You can't trade a second rounder then sit him.
They won't scratch him. I mean, he should. I'd scratch him, but they won't scratch him.
And then you go Trennan, Gaudreau, and I know I'm bumping now Gaudreau from the second line to a fourth line, which is probably in the grand scheme of things, 100-foot view, that's a massive demotion. I hope he wouldn't take it that way, but that's just where I think he fits in best for what they need to do to win a game.
Here's the thing too, though, is I have no problem with leaving Hartman on the fourth line. Like, he played a good game.
Yeah.
And he played under control. But I got news for you. That's the expectation. I think the confusing thing with Ryan, and I'm not saying he won't play second line tonight, and I'm not saying he might not score a goal, okay? But I think where coaches get confused is, and it's partially because of his one season centering Kaprizov and Zuccarello for a lot of that year. I think the confusion is that his grit means he's somewhat skilled, which he's really not. He's a bottom 6 guy. Goudreau is a bottom 6 guy. Rossi is the only one who gives you a hope of being able to make some plays, like consistently. I'm not saying Hartman can't have a good period. We've seen it before. I'm not saying he can't have a good game. We've seen it before. But every time we do this dance now, hey, Ryan Hartman, he gets it. He took a beating and he didn't get mad. Okay, yeah, it's hockey. It's the playoffs. You better shut up. Oh, man, he's got to be the second line now. Let's reward him. And the other thing with Marco is enough with the punishment here. Like, I'll go back to what I said after game one. John Hines is cutting off his own nose to spite his face by taking a guy and basically making a third line example of a guy whose only hope to help you is to play with skilled guys. Like, Ryan Hartman is better off bottom of 6. Freddie Goudreau, better off bottom 6. I'm talking about games that you have to win. And if Marco Rossi, if you're mad, which I think it's clear that John Hines was, but if the message has not gotten through by now, then you might as well scratch him. Because he's not going to do anything for you. You're not going to break him out of his slump, in my opinion, playing with Foligno and Nyquist. So I'm talking about trying to win a game. I'm not talking about, look, I'm all for sending messages. I love it. I think it's great. But this is a time to see if it was delivered. As far as Zuccarello and Kaprizov back together, I could see that. I am fearful, though, that they would just start to pass back and forth. And I really want Kirill to shoot. But that being said, I would not have any problem if you juggled those top 6 wings. I would not have a problem with that. I just need Kirill to understand, you know what? Might not be fair. I think it personally is fair, but we need you to carry us. Like, at the end of the game, if we win, I want you to be the number 1 star.
Yeah. And
I think it's a fair ask.
And I don't think that's too much of an ask considering like impending contract stuff, what's going to happen. Like, sure, he's not making 14, 15 million a year right now, but that's what he is to this team. Like, that's what you are expecting. And there shouldn't be this overzealous, like, what do you mean I have to turn it on? And I know
I don't think I have a problem with it.
No, I don't.
I would just say, stop passing the bleeping puck. I need you to shoot.
Yeah. If you do reunite those two, there's got to be a, hey, we're going to put you guys back together, but shoot the damn puck. Like, yeah, like it should be a quick, you enter the zone, maybe a pass, and then you fire. There should not be multiple passes inside of the zone while you're still rushing up ice. It should be one fire. Fire.
Well, and to that point, that is where the Golden Knights have their best chance to score. And they scored at least one goal like that in game one, which is, I feel like the more that you try in 2025 to set up in the zone and dipsy doodle, these defensive structures now are so good, and goaltenders they see the puck like they've never seen the puck before. I feel like the more that you try to establish the zone, and now we're going to, and I'm talking 5-on-5, not power play, but the more that you try to establish the zone, and we're going to set up and we're going to throw it past 3 times. I'm not saying it can't work, and if you're McDavid and Draisaitl, it sure as hell can, but I'm with you. I want the structure to be, we are going to shoot off we're going to come in on the breakout and we're going to shoot the puck at times, because that's where you catch a guy like Gustafsson, for instance. Like, I feel like he struggles a lot more there. If you set up with Gus, the way he's playing right now, and it's great, but he's seeing the puck clearly, and he's kicking the puck away, or he's stopping the initial shot, and you don't get a second chance. So yeah, I'm with you. And this is no dig at Kaprizov. Like, I have no qualm with what he's doing. In fact, I thought in game one he's very good. I'm just saying I don't think you're going to win the game if Kirill Kaprizov has one shot on goal. And so this is not like an admonishment. This is just, the fact is you are the best player on the team, and I want my best player who's got a very special shot employing that shot.
Yeah, and I think it would be easier, like if you said, would you rather have a chance off the rush where maybe they don't pick up sustained offensive zone pressure, but it's like a 3-on-2 or a 3-on-3 where they have speed, they get a shot, and maybe possession changes hands? Or do you want them to dump the puck in deep and then they set up the zone and they pass around? I feel way less confident about this team when they're set up, because especially with what you know about Vegas, they take away passing lanes. Great.
Exactly.
All 6 defenders are so unselfish. They're sacrificial lambs. McNabb, Theodore, Hannafin, Whitecloud, Haig, Petrangelo, they're all going to lay down and take away shooting lanes. And then the 6 of the wingers are fantastic to take away passing lanes. And I don't think the Wild, it happens a couple times a game, but for the most part, their passing is not efficient and zippy enough to like break that sort of structure down to generate a high quality chance. So I would rather have a quick rush up ice, similar to the 3-on-2 that Vegas had. You dish it to the wing, you beat them short side. Hey, that's, you won that. Other times you're going to miss the net, like we see the Wild do a lot, but that's just what happens. Try to pick a corner, or you go for the low pad far side, and then that other wing crashes the net, rebound opportunity. Maybe you score, maybe you don't. I would rather have that quick chance rather than give me 30 seconds of, the announcers, oh, look at how good the Wild are right now, but then it ends up with just a block shot and nothing really else.
Right. And that defensive core is going to clear you out. They're going to clear you out. Like that's the thing, is you've got to be dedicated to going to the net, getting beat up, and possibly, not always, certainly winning the battle, but the battle has to exist. So what you just said makes perfect sense, which is option A, the rush, come into the zone, and those are set plays. Like, it's not like they're not set plays. They can be set plays, right? Yeah. So, yeah, that makes a lot more sense. AJ, I do want to get to what I thought was a primary talker coming off of game 1. But before I do that, guys, I want to talk to you about my friends at Neos Elite Performance, because if you are an old athlete, let's just say you played high school sports and now you're sore and you've had to stop playing, I have the exact thing for you. That is Neos Elite's cutting-edge regenerative medicine and cellular IV therapy that's designed to get you going again. And here's the most important thing, that there's Shug right there. Without invasive procedures. This is white glove service delivered to your home. You're not going to the doctors. You're not going to the hospitals. No, they're coming to you. So you got back pain, knee pain, everyday tasks feel impossible? Stop your suffering now. Neos' therapy is designed to reduce pain, restore function, and get you back to doing what you love. There are several pro athletes, former ones, who have used this. There's a couple right there. You can regain your edge. No surgery, no downtime, just results. Schedule now at neoselite.com, neoselite.com. If nothing else, check out the site. A lot of good stuff just about how cutting edge this treatment is and about how it can get you back to feeling like you used to. neoselite.com, neoselite.com. All right, so there's one thing I loved off of game 1, and it's the Wild refusing to publicly, and this clearly came from John Hines, complain about the penalties. So it sounds like Hines was going to talk to the supervisor of officials for the series, but the players, to a man, were like, it's the playoffs, 5-on-5 is great, we'd prefer, because keep in mind too, Vegas got 2 power plays, but the second one was a clear hook when...
Yeah, it was off the Buium turnover.
Yes. And if I'm not mistaken, William Karlsson made a great play, began to break away, and was hooked down to prevent an empty net goal. So really, at the end of the day, each team got a penalty. First of all, it's the playoffs. Second of all, I know that there were fans upset about this, but Vegas does not take, nor do they get, a lot of penalties. But personally, I loved it because I loved that the Wild did not complain. And second of all, I loved it because I think this is going to be the series. I don't think we're going to see, it's the playoffs. I don't think we're going to see a ton of power plays. I think the sooner that everyone, including the fan base, gets their head around that. And keep in mind too, Vegas, I know that we looked at 2 or 3 things that looked, bad. But if the Wild doesn't get called as well, it goes both ways. And yes, the Gaudreau pick I thought was outstanding. I thought it was a really nice play because it was very creative. And I know it's frustrating because it certainly could have been called interference. It was not. But I love the Wild not bitching and moaning about this. I thought it was great. I think it's the exact right approach. Keep your thoughts to yourself and be prepared for it to not be fair. And again, quite frankly, both teams took a penalty. The Wild didn't take 5, and the Golden Knights took 1. So I just think that the Wild's mentality about the penalty thing was really, really wise.
I'm 100% okay with you, myself, fans, people watching the games complaining about officiating. By all means, let it run wild. That's all right. But the team, when they start doing that, that tells me that like that's a nagging thing in the back of their head. Like, oh, we can't win if the refs are against. The fact that I haven't heard much other than a comment or two about the officiating from John Hines in particular,
Yep.
that tells me, you know what? We know we have a job to do. We're focused. We are going to recollect, and we'll be back at it now tonight at 10 o'clock. But yeah, I mean, could there have probably been some more calls? Absolutely, for sure. But I bet you the standard has now been set, and that's what it's going to be. Like, it would be so crazy if we watch this game tonight and we have 6 penalties in total, and weak stuff is getting called. Blah, blah. That's just not going to happen. If you set like an over under, I bet you it's at 3.5, and I bet you it probably stays under. Like the other night, I technically counted as 2 because the other one is like, yes, it's an open play, but you had to stop Carlson.
Yeah, it was a good play.
Like, it was a good play. You had to take that one. But the Eriksson high stick against Pietrangelo, the McNabb boarding against Ryan Hartman, those were like in the midst of things. Those types of penalties, you probably get about the same, maybe one more. But the key now for the Wild, you're going to get 1, maybe 2 chances on offense. You have to make the most of it.
Yes.
I expect Zeev Buium to have a better game. I really do. And first off, I want to say I saw a small discussion. I think you and I were on the same page that you don't bench him, but I saw a very opinionated discussion on the Twitter sphere. And I think it's a litmus test whether you think Zeev Buium should be benched after that performance or not. I'll let you decide.
Are you telling me John Merrill has a better game than that?
Like I said, I think we're both on the same side of that. For me, that's very telling about how you think about the defensive aspects of this game. But sure. I would say, now you have 1, maybe 2 chances, but also on the other side, you're going to have 1 or 2 chances on defense on the penalty kill. Those have to be the tightest, most well-executed things, because that will win or lose you a game. I don't want to hear like, now, they broke it out. They know what what they're going to do in the penalty dot, like on the face-off dot. You have to be prepared to counter that. There's going to be tricks. They probably can't get away with that again. Now, I bet you they probably would call that a second time if they do it.
Oh, what they did to you. Yeah.
Yeah. You also can't now go do that, but you have to be so well executed that you can't let them score.
Yeah.
If you go 1 or 2 times, if you go 3 times, then I bet you they scored at least once on one of those 3.
Oh, yeah. It's the second best power play in the entire league. So yeah, no, you can't take penalties.
And they announced this. They're like the least penalized team in the NHL over the last 3 or 4 seasons. We know that they're not going to go to the box often. Right. If they do, you have to take advantage. And that's why you now have put him in the lineup, and are playing Zeev Buium. I expect them to have a better game, but the Wild just need to look better on special teams overall tonight.
Absolutely. And look, you knew when Vegas scored, I think 5 seconds into their power play, and then the Wild didn't score on theirs. I don't think that they had a shot on goal on theirs. Like that was a enormous part of that game. So yeah, I'm with you. And the other thing too is, and it's weird because the Wild actually had a better night than the Golden Knights in the dot. So they actually won more faceoffs. But
which I did not expect. That was a shock.
But in your defensive zone, killing a penalty, you cannot lose those draws clean. And part of the problem was Eriksson took the penalty, so Gaudreau lost the draw. Eriksson ordinarily would have been on PK1, but you have to, whatever, I don't care what you have to do. You got to tie up the guy's stick. You got to tie the guy up. Like, I don't ever need these guys at this point in time in their own zone in the playoffs to try to win a draw clean. It's not necessary.
No.
Like, there's tricks to the trade. We've seen them. There's tricks. Like, you need to tie the puck up. And look, if the puck gets lost in the scrum, which by the way means it doesn't ordinarily fly back to like the point, but like if the puck gets lost in the scrum of the draw, I get that. But I'm talking about losing faceoffs clean. You cannot let Vegas get into in your offensive zone or your defensive zone. You cannot let them get into their offense. You have to create issues. You have to muck it up. Then if they get into it, they get into it. But my point is, yes, Goudreau got picked, but before he got picked, him losing that draw clean had nothing to do with the pick. It had everything to do with he just lost it clean, right?
Yeah.
And now they've got the opportunity to use the pick play because it's bang bang goal. So you cannot lose those draws clean. You can lose them clean in the offensive zone. It's not great, but you can lose them clean. In neutral, you certainly can. You don't like to, but in your zone, I think the most important thing is you've got to muck it up.
Yes, and in your own zone, this is something I also noticed, and I don't think we really talked about the other night, which is I need the Wild to where when they go to clear the puck out of their zone, there can be one, maybe two failed attempts to clear a game. I need a for sure no weak backhands that maybe dribble out.
That's
I need you to go high off the glass. I need you to put it through a guy, do something. Because there was, I think, in like the first period, they had a sloppy game at times. I think people would agree with that. Like, despite a close contested game, both teams had sloppy moments.
Oh yeah,
the Wild had some sloppy clearing attempts.
Oh yeah,
you have to clean that up. If you, and that goes to your point of you can't let them get in a rhythm, get in their offense. If they hold the zone, that's just one. You're out there. I think it was Brazeau had a failed chance where now you're out there tired. We already won, trying to limit your minutes in that crucial area, blah, blah.
Yep.
If you have the puck, you have to clear the zone. I'm giving you one or two failed attempts. You have to get these pucks out. Otherwise, it's just going to be bad news all night long.
Yeah. Well, and you also, but despite the fact I think it's a template, you also could make the case in the playoffs that how you clear or exit your zone should be decided by the line. Like I got a lot more faith in Kirill Kaprizov to make a nice pass to get out than I do the fourth line. Like I want the fourth line to grind. I want them to grind that puck out. And part of what we see now, and this is not just a Wild thing, but no, I mean, I've told you a bunch of these exit strategies drive me crazy. And the other one is passing the puck low in your zone to get out. Like there's very few lines. Once I get to my third line, you're not throwing the puck like below the dots.
There should be a progression. Like
there should be out north south.
It should be like you should feel like it's down the slope where every pass is going the same direction.
I don't like east west, but I think Kirill Kaprizov is capable.
Yeah.
But if Trennan or Brazeau, I literally want you to hulk the puck out. Seriously. Because I don't try like if you go east west, you're just killing yourself. So Anyway, all right, we are done. Don't forget Judd's Hockey Show post game tonight. Whenever it ends, with our luck, it'll go 3 OTs, and we'll be on at 4 a.m. Yes, AJ.
And if you want to join with us to vent or praise the Wild after the performance, jhsventline@gmail.com. I'll post the link probably midway through the third or second intermission, but we'll if you're up and want to join us, you might as well make the most of it. Get in, share your thoughts on the game, and we'll have some fun with it.
Brew that coffee, folks. See you later.